Alrighty, everybody, let's have some fun. Let's get ready to paint. This guy, I'm pointing down here. What I mean is that guy, and it looks like my camera is not working. What happened? Let me see if I can fix that really quickly. Oh, we're back to working. Oh, we're back to working. We're going to paint that guy here. So welcome to the studio. Sorry about that little glitch at the beginning. I'm all of a sudden frazzled because I got a minute and a half into that intro, and then I went, I want to get a different brush. And I went over across the studio and tried to grab a different brush, and all mayhem seems to have broken loose in the past minute. So welcome, Sudike is here. Welcome, Sudike. Let's get ready to tackle this. I think what I'm going to do, well, first of all, I should say, I'm using Fabriano Studio paper. For the most part, I'm going to be using my King Art brushes. My paints over on my right-hand side over here are my M. Graham paints. But I wanted to grab this guy because I really like this brush. This is my Raphael Soft Aqua mop brush. And I'm going to use this for the background, and I really like this brush. And so I was frazzled trying to grab this. Carol is here. Hello, Carol, all the way from Kansas. All right. Welcome. Yeah, Sadika says, if you're new here, welcome. I don't think I've seen you here. I'm glad to have you here. A couple of rules of the stream. Ask any questions you want. I'm pretty open to answering anything. They can be about anything you want. I would prefer that they were about art, watercolors, me, my journey, but anything like that, fair game. And if I don't want to answer it, I'll just tell you I don't want to answer it. Hang on a second. I have to write this down. So we go through this every week, and YouTube sends me an error, and I'm going to write down what the error is. So I'm going to take care of it so we don't have it. Carol, you're in for quite a ride here. Sometimes it's really great out here in the studio and things work well, and sometimes nothing works. Let's hope tonight is one of those times when things work more than not. I'm just grabbing a little bit of color here. This is kind of a mixture of cerulean blue and cobalt blue and whatever other blue I had in my paint tray. And I'm just going to put on a really light sky, something to get a background on here. I want my background to be very light. I don't want it to take away in any way, shape, or form from the main subject here, which is this bighorn sheep. And I'm just going to try to get a nice smooth sky in here. Perfect. Something like that. I've got a little bit of blue here that I need to put in, and a little bit here that I need to put in. And other than that, we are good to go. We can then start to put in the rest of it. Thank you. No worries from me. Okay, cool. Then I can work on the rest of my background. And like I said, I'm not big on backgrounds because I want to spend all my time with my main subject. In this case, it's that bighorn sheep there. But I do want to give it just enough of an emphasis so that you know it's the background there and there's something back there. My wife used to talk about it all the time. You can't just have your subject floating in air. It doesn't make a good presentation. You need to plant it in something, and after, I don't know, 10 years or so, maybe I'm coming around to her way of thinking. Carol says, do you use hot or cold press? This is cold press paper. My personal preferences I don't see why anybody likes hot press paper. But I'm different than everybody else. This is cold pressed. This is Fabriano Studio paper, and I'm happy to talk about this paper. I've been using this pack for a while, and you can see there used to be a lot more sheets of paper in here, and I've burned through a lot of it. It's 25% cotton, 75% wood pulp, but I think it's a good paper. I have no issues with it whatsoever. Like I said, I've used that pack for a long time. It's worked out pretty well. That being said, is other paper better? Probably. Are there papers that are worse? Absolutely. So I hope that answers that. What part of Kansas are you from? My father was stationed in Fort Leavenworth a couple of years ago, Sika says. You're in Wichita. I've been to Fort Leavenworth a few times. I hope for not any bad reasons that you've had to go to Fort Leavenworth. Don't they have a big prison in Leavenworth? I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking of something else. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to paint on a very light background. It's deserty background. It doesn't have to be perfect. What I'm trying to get here is my horizon line and a little bit of texture in this background, but nothing that's going to rival the color or the intensity of the image that I'm painting. I'm going to mix in some oranges, some yellows, right? I'm picturing like Moab or, northern Arizona, New Mexico, somewhere out in the desert like that. If I want to go just a bit of a darker color, I'm not going to mess with trying to mix anything special. I'm just going to put a little bit of the sepia in here. We'll just darken it down a little bit. And like I said, I'm not worried about the background at all. To me, the background is just something we need to get through in order to have fun painting the what we really want to paint, which is this bighorn sheep. And I can already tell you, it looks like right down here. I should zoom in a little bit on this. Let me see if I can do this a little bit. I think I've already zoomed in pretty far. It looks like somebody's got a fingerprint on this page right there and right here. My paint doesn't want to go over it really nicely. That's going to make me a little angry. I mean, not really angry, but it's a little frustrating. I can have a little richer color, and maybe I can put a little bit of blue in with that to gray it down a little bit. Down here as we get into the shadow of some of the rocks. But I don't want to overdo it with a whole lot of color or anything like that. I'm happy to just have it be an interesting color back there and let it be that interesting color. And I've got to kind of come up and do the same thing on this side of the bighorn sheep. And Carol, sometimes I move a little quickly, and that's okay. You guys just tell me if I'm moving too quickly, if you want to hear about the colors or what I'm thinking or why I'm doing something. Just throw something out there. I usually look up in time to answer before I've moved too far on to something else. But what I'm doing here is I'm just trying to lay in some color. And I'm doing some negative painting right around my main subject, which is really what I want to be painting. And if I can get some gentle interest in the back here, that's great. That's all I'm worried about. A little bit of brown. Nothing very intense. As I said, nothing that's going to draw away. Maybe that's a little too orange. Let's get a little bit more red in there. Just give me a little bit of this. What is that? That is alizarin crimson. A little bit of that alizarin crimson. As I'm coming down a bit of a ridge right here. Can draw some of that on. A little bit more water on my brush. Pull this paint down, and we're going to have a nice background on here before too long. And if it's exactly how I pictured it, awesome. If it's not, totally fine too. All right, there is the best part of it. There is my background. Oh, I got some. I got to get some under here. This guy's legs are a little crossed at the front, like this. There it is. I think that darkens, that dries. It's not going to darken, it's going to lighten that actually, but that lightens up. We've got a fine background right there. It gives us a great opportunity to focus in on our guy here. I'm just seeing if I can just make this a little bigger for you. I think that will do it right there. Let's see if I do this and move this over that way. That's more right in front of me. Okay, cool. Carol says, you're doing good, thank you. Oh yeah, a lot of military family, not to the prison. So there is a prison in Fort Leavenworth. I was right. Okay, and now we've reached the point of the broadcast where I tell stories, because I need to wait for this to dry a little bit before I can get in and do all the fun stuff here. And I'm not going to tell a really big story, but we're going to talk about how I want to approach painting the rest of this. And one of the things I've talked about plenty of times, one of the things I like to try to make my painting look like, one of the attributes I want my paintings to display is, I'm going to use this in quotes now, watercoloriness, right? Watercoloriness. It has to have that cool watercolory feeling to it. And what I mean by that is it's got to look like it's got some flow to it or some life to it. Not just putting some color on there and hoping things are going to work out. Or not being too tight and painting over and painting over and painting over this area and getting striations and marks and whatnot on it. So as I look at this sheep, and let me put the bigger picture up here so you guys can see what I'm talking about. As I look at this guy is basically divided into 4 different areas. You might say 6 different areas, whatnot. But let me describe them to you, and you can see if you see exactly what I'm talking about. The body, everything from the chin line and the ear down, can be done in one wash. Maybe it won't be a finish wash, but it can be done in one wash. There are no disconnection lines between any of those areas in the entire body. That's the front legs, that's the back legs, that's the rear end, that's the neck, all of that area. So I'm going to hope to put one wash on in that area and darken it while it's still wet in certain areas and leave some other areas lighter. Have a little mishmash of color in there to add some interest. Okay, cool. That's one area. Then if you look at his face, his whole head, minus the horns, and maybe if you want to talk about it, minus that white around the end of his mouth, at the end of his snout. That's one area. We can paint that in a second grouping, and then each horn individually. Okay, let me bring you back here. So I hope you understand what I'm talking about. This area, this whole head, can be done in one wash, right? This whole area, somebody's got a hair on here. Who has long hair around here? That's terrible. This whole area can be done in one wash, right? Now, I do something this large. For me, it is kind of a little scary. You're going to have to go back and do some work to make sure that this area down here is a little darker, right? This area here stays a little lighter. There's some light here and some dark back here. There's some work to do in a wash this large, where you're trying to put on a first wash and do some detail. That's cool. That's all good, right? The head is one wash. Same principles apply. Much easier in a smaller area. Then horn. By the time we're done with that, then we can come back and do some more details on the body. That's the plan. Now, Sudike will readily tell you that's the plan. Things don't always go to plan. And they don't go to plan because, one, that's not necessarily a natural way for me to paint, but I'm trying to incorporate that into how I do things. Now, the next thing we can talk about, and I thought I had a sheet of paper here. I do. Are the colors of this guy's body. And let's move that background off of there. And look at there's some movement and some interest in the background back there. As it's drying up, you're seeing it. Some brighter oranges, some yellows, some darker areas. Even without doing anything back there, it's going to be nice. It's not going to draw too much away from our main painting. Carrie, you like the way I'm explaining my approach? Thank you. I think when I started doing these live streams, I did a lot more explaining of things, and as I kind of got comfortable in doing them, I kind of just started painting and telling stories. And somebody at work who watches these approached me and said, well, you don't really explain what you're doing or why you're doing it so much. I get it. It turns out cool in the end, but I'd kind of like to know along the way. Interesting. I didn't think of it that way. So I'm trying to, peel back the curtain a little bit more and let everybody know what it is I'm doing and why I'm doing it. Not only as I'm doing it, but before I'm doing it, so that you all know what to expect. And thank you for mentioning that. It's always good to get that little bit of feedback, so you know what's going on. Dwayne is here. Hello, Dwayne. Great to have you here. Always fantastic to have you here. Okay, I've got a gray that I've mixed up. I can put that with a little bit of this burnt umber. I use a lot of burnt umber. And if I mix a little bit of the sepia in here, or even mix some of that into a gray and attach that onto here, that might have been a bit blue, that gray. Can we get a nice color that's going to match our ram up here? I guess it's called a ram. And the answer is with a little bit of blue. And is that blue the right color, or do I want to go like I did in the previous weeks with a bit of the cerulean, which makes a lighter gray? Well, maybe we want to throw a little bit of all of this in there, so we can make a nice wash here that's got a lot of these colors. Even I can pull some of this yellow ochre in here, as long as it's mixing with these other colors. And look at the wide range of colors that we're going to get, that we're going to be able to put on this guy. Okay, so some of these ochres in the lighter areas, I would think, especially up on his head, these lighter ochre colors. Some of these warmer colors, it's almost the same. It's not too different, at least this bit up here. But here we're getting quite warm on his back or on his flank. And then underneath, some of these darker colors here. And we can mix them, get them all to mix and play together with a little bit of that blue that's going to shadow it down a little bit. I think we can do that. Whew, okay. And I'm still a little bit wetter than I would like. So I'm just going to say, it's, I don't know what it's like in any other part of the country. I don't know what it's like in Kansas, Dwayne, I don't know what it's like for you. Sadiq, I don't know what it's like for you. Here, you guys can laugh at me all you want. It's brutally cold. It got down into the low 40s, and I'm freezing. It's too cold at 40. On the way to work today, the thermometer on my car said 39 on the way in, and I went, no, it's not supposed to be 39 until January. So I've actually got a flannel shirt, a sweatshirt, and I'm sitting here. My fingers are freezing cold. I should have turned on the heater in the studio before I started this. And I know I'm very lucky to live in such a temperate area of the country. I shouldn't really be complaining about it, but I just had to say, I've been freezing cold all day today. Okay, let's give this a shot. And I have to remember that if I'm pre-wetting this area, if I'm doing a larger wash and trying to mix in some colors, it's going to fade a little bit more than if I were to put some straight color in there. But let's give it a go anyways, right? So I'm going to go around his head. And Dwayne, if you want me to catch you up on what I'm doing, just shout it out here. And I'm happy to walk you through what I did because I explained it pretty quickly. And maybe not everybody else has gotten it, and they're not willing to say anything. Carol, I live on the... Your Ohio peeps won't know you. They don't. They're probably actually cold. I live on the central coast of California, and it's one of the most moderate climates in the United States. I think we had, I don't know, 3 or 4 days over 80 degrees this year. And where I live, anyways, about a half mile from the Pacific Ocean, I would expect to never have a freeze here. I would expect that we'll get down into the high 30s. It would be our coldest. If it ever gets into the 20s here, something has gone horribly wrong. Dwayne says my Buckeyes are on fire. I grew up in Ohio. I went to Ohio State. I'm a big Ohio State fan. The Buckeyes this year are having a good, well, I guess last year we had a good year too. We're having a good year. I don't want to jinx it. We've got 1 week to get things right. We've got a few guys who are playing a little hurt or played a little hurt this past week. We need them to get back into playing shape, heal up, and then get out there for the last game of the year, the championship game, and then hopefully the college football playoff. But yes, my Buckeyes are doing great. And yes, everybody I know from Ohio that I speak to, they're all like you, have gotten so soft, not being able to deal with some, 40 or 30 degree weather. I do remember growing up and wearing shorts or just sweats most of the winter. My brother, who still lives back in the Midwest, doesn't even own a winter coat. I think I have a heavier winter coat than he does. So it's just one of those things, and I've kind of gone out of the lines there. Let me try this again. Okay. So the paper that I'm using tonight is my Fabriano Studio paper again. And again, it's not the best paper in the world. It's paper that I have. And I bought it because it's a good paper. It is part cotton, 25%, and part wood pulp. So you know, take that for what it is. It's got some, excuse me, it's got some goods and some bads associated with that. Just mixing up a bit of a darker color here that I'm going to put in a couple of these places. And if that color runs a little bit more than I want it to, I'm going to try to allow it. I'm going to try not to control it too much and allow some of this color to run and be happy and do what it wants to do. To make this look good, I feel like I'm going to do a little bit of outlining here and there while this paper is still just a little bit wet. Oh, I'll lighten that up a little bit. Maybe a little bit more of this. Give a little bit of darkness over here, and I'm trying very hard to just get some color where I think it needs to go, and I'm hoping that the paint is going to do everything else for me. It looks like it's doing some of the work for me down through here, maybe not all of it. That's okay. It doesn't have to do all of it. Ooh, I don't, maybe I shouldn't have done that. I just need it to get a cool base coat, give me some cool colors on here, and then we'll take it from there. I do want to get a bit of dark right around this head. So I have some darker colors right around his head. I think when I put those lighter colors on there, it's really going to help it stand out a little bit. Okay, so I think what I got is something that is going to dry. This is oftentimes what happens with watercolors, and I'm gonna laugh at myself. I have something that I think is going to dry and look funny. It's going to look a little weird. That's okay. That's not bad. So much of the time when you paint watercolors, you're going to start out with a plan, and you're going to go, this is going to go great, and this is going to look great, and this is how I'm going to do it. And you do it, and it looks great until you get to about the 20%, 30% mark. And then until you get to about the 80%, 90% mark, you're going, oh, I really don't know. I might have really screwed this up. This might turn out terrible. I think we're just past that 20% mark. It looks a little weird, but let's hang with it. We can bring this, I don't want to touch it quite yet because it's still a little, it's drier than I want to mess with it, but not wet enough that I can mess with it. But let's see, here's what I'm going to do. And let me get my blue pointer brush out. When this dries, I'm going to unify these two colors together. This is a little ochre-y. This is a little umber-y. I'm going to unify these two colors, and I'm going to make this, the top part of his arm, his shoulder here, stand out more, right? And we're going to do that, and this is going to be good. We're going to do that by bringing this color up, which is going to unify some of the shadow color with this umber color. I actually like that light flank right there. We're going to take care of this spot that I unintentionally put on there, which is fine. And we're going to define where the back leg and where the stomach is under here. We'll do the same thing up here too. And then we're going to bring this color right on up and around. We're good with it. I'm okay with where it's at. It looks a little odd right now. It looks a little blotchy. It won't after our second layer. I can almost promise. Can't exactly promise, but I can almost promise. Let's see, what else? I see a line over my head. Oh, it must be my curtain back here. I'm looking at my picture on the screen. I don't know if you guys can see it. It looks like I've got a line coming out of my head, but I think, yeah, it's my green screen back there. All right. So our horns are going to be more ochre-y than the head, but I can't do them just straight ochre because that's going to get, I don't know, it gets too yellowy, too, I don't know, it's too, it's I don't know, it's, I don't know how to describe it. It turns a weird color. In fact, let's take a look at the color that it's doing. We've got a second. I put it on. All right, that's some kind of weird desert sand or something like that. And look, I'll hold it up next to that picture if you can see it. It says way too yellow, way too bright for that. So if I darken that down a little bit, even with just a little bit of that sepia to pull that color down a little bit, it's going to look so much better. So much better. I might need a little bit more paint than that. And we're going to try to do the same thing. I'm going to try to do this all in one go. We'll put the color on very lightly. Then we'll start adding some color where we think the shadows, or where I think the shadows need to be, or the lower lights need to go to. I'm going to put a little color on here so you can see it as I'm doing it. And then we'll add not just the low lights, but the full-on heavy shadows in here. So putting some color on. I do have at least one thing to take into consideration here. I've really got two things to take into consideration. One is I need to make this horn, the curl of this horn, stand out in front of the background. If I were to leave the color just like it is now, right, at that level, you can see, let me do this. Let me push some of that color back up. You can see that it would just get lost in that background, right? We need to really make that a bit stronger. Right? Actually, it can be a little darker back here. Make that a bit stronger of color. Let's let that stand out a little bit. So I'm going to add in a little bit of color like that. And Kenya is here. Kenya, you're right on time. And a little bit of color over here on the top. All right, our light is, coming in something like this. So this is a little bit in the shadow over here. There we go. There's one horn. We've got all this cool, this really nice lighter area right in the front. This big strip of interesting area, and already without doing much of anything, we've got some interest on that horn. I'm going to see if I can duplicate that over on this side. Always a questionable thing if I can duplicate something. I can get it reasonably close to what it is on the other side. I have to remember my shadow is on the opposite side, or my low lights are on the opposite side on this one. But again, I have to think, how can I make this horn stand apart from not only the background behind it, but also from the ear that's in front of it, right? It's got to be probably a little lighter, a little paler in color than that ear is going to be, but it's got to be way darker and way heavier, way more, the color's got to be way more saturated than the background behind it. So I'm going to grab some of the same color that we had here, and I'm going to mix in along this outside edge, some of this color along the outside edge here. And I want to put some actually on the inside edge over here. So I'm kind of going on both sides of the horn as it comes and wraps around. So I don't know, something like that. And I'm really fighting myself to just let the water take this color where it wants to go. I don't want to do too, I do want to do a lot with it, but I don't want to do a lot with it because I want the water to be able to take it a couple of places and get it to do some watery magic. if that's even a thing. All right. Okay. Can you see that one? It's not a straight line. Oh, don't mess with it. Don't mess with it. It doesn't have to be a straight line. Animals don't have straight lines necessarily. Okay. Now, with any luck, and Natalie is here. Hello. Carol says, do I post replays? What you're seeing, Carol, what you're seeing is going to be up there for in perpetuity. If you look at my channel, I've done a live stream like this nearly every Wednesday for the past 3 years. Maybe a little bit more than that, but probably 3 years. It's there. I'm not going to take it down unless YouTube makes me take it down for some reason. It's there to watch at your leisure. I do feel like I need to start, excuse me, making some traditional videos. So you may see some of those coming, but as for this, it's up there. It's there. Okay. So I've got, and I should say, Natalie, I looked at your Cotamundi. I hope I'm saying it right. Those are really interesting. I really considered painting one of those. They are pretty interesting. Natalie posted a couple of images in Discord, and they were really pretty interesting. The Cotamundi are I guess they're I'm not sure what species they are. They're kind of like a possum, raccoon, cat, dog thing. Live in typically Central and parts of northern South America and southern United States and the desert Southwest, and they've kind of conquered a whole bunch of ecosystems, and they're interesting. Lemur, I think you could throw a bit of lemur in there. Rusty is here. Rusty, welcome. First time, loving it. Working on a bighorn yourself? There you go. There you go. Yours will probably turn out better than mine, if we're being honest about it. I've no doubt. But I'm gonna give you a run for your money. I'm gonna try to bring all of this together. And so this that I'm doing right now, I should say, what I'm doing right now is what I love to do in watercolor painting. So I have this first coat on here, and I really don't want to screw this first layer up too much, but I love putting paint on and blending it out very smoothly. One hard edge, and I'm just going to blend that color out until it's almost nothing. I can blend for an inch. I can blend for 3 inches. I really like making washes in watercolors, and my hope is, I'll just let you in here. My hope is that I'm going to be able to take what's underneath, put a light layer on over top, blend it out, and I won't have taken away everything in that first layer. I will just have augmented it, or I will have allowed it to meet up with a different layer and combine and kind of match maybe a little bit better. Right, like if I blend these two areas together, then coming up the side of this bighorn, it should be a seamless transition. And hopefully starting to look a little bit better and a little bit better. I'm going to put a little darker color over here. Let's see. Kind of his hindside is over here. Should be out of the sun a little bit. I'm going to put some darker color here, and then as we work this way up the animal, I'll let that color come up in value a little bit, a little lighter. Now I'm just going to blend a lot of this down, get it out of here. The thing you have to remember, if you're trying to duplicate my method, and I wouldn't necessarily say that you should, I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but I've been doing it for a long time, is blending color, blending color, blending color. The thing you have to remember is you do need to go all the way. You either, well, I guess you could, one thing you could do is you could get some really high quality all cotton paper, and that really helps. Or you can blend all the way until you find a hard edge, because with pulp paper, and this is part pulp, right? Wood pulp paper. With pulp paper, one of the things that color does is it will go until it finds an edge. It will just continue to bleed as long as that water is damp. It'll go and it'll go and it'll find it, and it'll make a little tiny tide mark right there. Let's see. Let's see. Natalie, are you a Canon or a Nikon person? Your answer will permanently affect our relationship. Oh, no. Oh, there you go. Minolta. There you go. iPhone. That's an even better answer. Maybe you're dating yourself. Natalie says, BC, before children, I had my own darkroom, loved doing black and white. Wow, and infrared photography. Nice. Sherry's here. Hello, Sherry. Sherry's here. Kenya, I don't know how to break this to you. I don't know what this is going to do. I'm a Nikon person. Have always been a Nikon person. I have my Nikon camera right back here. I had to look to see where it was. I love my Nikon FG. I've had that camera, my Nikon FG camera, since I was 16. I think I got it at 16. And it has been through the rain and snow and all kinds of shenanigans. I guess I did have one, I should say I had one problem with that camera. Not the camera's fault. The camera's fantastic. But I had used the camera for five years, quite heavily, 6 years, something like that. Like I said, quite heavily. And I'm really gonna date myself here. So just go with me for a second. I was at Ohio State, living in Columbus, of course, and seemingly the coldest part of the year. Buster Douglas, who was from Columbus, fought Mike Tyson in Japan and beat him. And the city of Columbus went nuts, and we had a big ticker tape parade for him, and I went to it to see it. I took my camera, I got it out to take pictures with, and the battery died. I think the camera was just too cold, along with me. But in reality, the camera died. It was not coming back. It was not going to restart again. So I got literally 2 pictures of Buster Douglas, and that's it. And I was sad. I was quite sad, but I replaced the battery, and it's been great ever since. Wow, Yashika. Wow. Twin reflex Yashika. That is a name I haven't heard in a while. Yashika. All right, Rusty's here and Carol's here, and they're new and we're off talking photography, and we should be talking watercolorology. So, actually, Rusty and Carol, if you hang out here with us for too long, we've kind of become a group here on Wednesdays, and oftentimes we get sidetracked and talking about things not watercolors, and I think that's one of the things that really makes this channel fun, or these Wednesday nights fun, is that we're not really pigeonholed to talking about any one thing. You could tune in, and at any point in time, who knows what we'll be talking about. 80s bands, cameras. I'm not sure. We've covered so many so many different subjects, a lot of different subjects we've covered. All of them fun. All of them fun. I've enjoyed every one of them. And that's why I said, Carol, if you have questions about anything, throw them out there. I'm willing to talk about just about anything. I think everybody else here is pretty willing to talk about whatever. We just want to enjoy. Oh, chickens. Don't get me started on chickens. I love my chickens. I came home today. I got home at 5. All right. I'm going to tell a chicken story. I got home at 5. And I've got 2 new girls. Newer-ish, if I'm being honest. They are, well, I guess they're getting to be 6 months old now, 7 months old. They're getting up there. And they are, what are they? What kind of chickens are they? Oh, this is too dark. This is too dark. I just looked up. I looked up there. To me, it looks okay down here. It's too dark up there. The 2 girls are really big chickens. They're Brahma chickens. They're known for being very big girls. And these 2, we have started calling them the Butterscotch twins. They're both buff color. So the Butterscotch twins have decided they're teenagers. They are teenagers. Yeah, they've decided they don't want to go into the chicken coop at night. They would rather sleep on the picnic table, which is just outside the back door. But what's really funny is they know they're not supposed to be on the picnic table. So when I come home and I open the back door, the sliding door out of the back of the house, and all I have to do is look at them, and I'm like, come on, Frida, come on, Cha-Cha, come on, move it along. They'll look at me and they'll hop down, and then they'll wander back over and get in the chicken coop just like they're supposed to, and then go to bed. Everything's fine. Tonight I was like, nah, that's not going to happen. You have to pay a penance for being out here tonight, and your penance is I'm going to pick you up. So I walked over to Cha-Cha, bent over and just picked her up, held her in my hand like this right here, and she's a big girl, and she just kind of went, yeah, okay, whoop. This is settle down. Didn't try to struggle, didn't try to do anything, just kind of went, yeah, okay, I'm sitting down here. Anyway, they're fun. I love them to death. I absolutely love them to death. I have 5 chickens. They're all fantastic in their own way. The older girls, I will admit, do seem a bit jealous when I go and pick up one of the young girls or give them some extra treats. They really do seem a little jealous, and it's a little disconcerting. Okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to come back. I'm going to let this be for just a minute. I feel like I'm overworking this area a little bit, and I don't want it to really be overworked. I do have some work to do on this arm. I've got some work to do on the haunch back here. So most of this I think is going to be okay. I might want to bring this shadow down a little bit and connect this shadow with that shadow. We'll get to that. But before I do too much here, let me come back and work on these horns a little bit. And Rusty says everything is fine. Enjoying the conversation. It's good. Studio gives it. You'll be Rusty and Carol. You'll be okay until this group starts talking pigment. Yes, we we have gone through large swaths of time where we've had many pigment conversations. Probably many too many pigment conversations. Nah, actually, that's not a thing. That can't happen. I've had exactly the right amount of pigment conversations. And I started this whole show by saying I felt a little rushed because I had to jump over and get a brush that I wanted from a table across the way. I will admit to being a bit of a brush snob. I'm very particular about my brushes for very particular reasons. And so I've held many brush conversations, I think. And that's okay. Now the brushes that I'm using are the King Art pointed round brushes. Tia's here. How you all doing? We are doing well. I'm assuming the ew is a sheep reference. How you all doing? I'm assuming it's a sheep reference. We're doing good. We're having a few interesting conversations. Welcome. I'm glad you could make it. It's always great to have you here. And I guess I didn't even get to say. I'm gonna say, not only has it turned cold here, in going back to the previous conversation, not only has it turned cold here, but we have gotten rain over the past 4 days like nobody's business. Hasn't rained here in months. Any appreciable amount of rain anyways. We get a smattering, but that's about it. And then starting last Thursday, the skies opened up and we had rain for 4 days straight. I almost took pictures of I should have taken pictures of the chickens. I really should have taken pictures of the chickens because I don't think they understood what the rain was all that well. I didn't like the edge. I didn't like that edge. I wanted to smooth that edge out a little bit. I don't think the chickens quite understood what the rain was all that well. because when I let them out on Saturday in the rain and I watched them, because I couldn't go fishing because the lake was closed because everything was muddy and treacherous. Thank you, state of California. They looked like they had been swimming in water for hours. Their feathers were just all in tatters and everything. It's yes, Natalie, you're getting our weather. Expect it for a couple of days. It's gonna be there. In fact, if anybody is an F1 fan, does anybody watch auto racing ever? I don't really expect that anybody does, but the F1 community is all up in arms because there's rain projected in Las Vegas this weekend, and they don't know what to do with it. Like we didn't sign up to have rain at the Las Vegas Grand Prix. We thought it was going to be 70 degrees and bone dry. Maybe not 70, but that's funny to hear them. Okay, all right. I think I can live with some of this. I think that got a little dark. I'm going to pull a little bit of that color off, and still a little dry. I think we'll be okay with that. I'm going to put some lines on here, the striations on there, so that's going to cover some of the starkness of those colors up. A little bit of that. Rusty says, oh, wait a minute. Kenya says, we had snow about a week ago, but it's warmed up a bit now. Yeah. And Rusty says, hopefully we will be getting some snow tomorrow in Colorado. Hopefully you're getting snow. I see the words. I'm not understanding what you're talking about. Hopefully you're getting snow. We don't like dusting outside of Chicago. No. Snow is something you get in Anchorage or Kyrgyzstan or something like that. I don't know. I used to be able to deal with snow, and now I'm like in cold, and now I'm like, nah, nope. That's for somebody else. But probably, in all seriousness, probably if we get a good snow, I'm going to see if the kids want to go up sledding or something like that. We don't do a whole lot of snowboarding because it's hours to get to a good ski resort. But so we never really learned. But anybody can manage sledding, and we've done it before, and it's kind of fun. Even when you're old like me, it's fun to do. And we did it a number of years ago. We drive up to the Fresno area, into the mountains up there, and really have a good time up there doing it. It's a lot of fun. Rusty, my daughter is in Denver. In Denver, has been enjoying a long fall season. She works in Colorado Springs, a couple of summers. Beautiful area. Yeah, and Sadiqa, your son used to go to the Sierra Nevadas to snowboard. Yeah, see, the problem is me. The problem is not my kids. I grew up in Ohio, and we don't do a lot of skiing in Ohio, for obvious reasons. We have at least in northern Ohio, we have a decided lack of mountains. We have other cool things, but we have a decided lack of mountains. And so my school did sponsor ski trips where you could go over to West Virginia, travel 3 hours by bus with everybody that you see every day in school and do some skiing. And I didn't do that. I was not really allowed to do it. My brother got injured a couple of times doing things like skiing and other sporting related events. And that put my mother right off of me doing it because it inconvenienced a lot of what she did. So I didn't get to do some of those things. Skiing was one of them I was not allowed to do. What are you going to do? Is that right? Is it wrong? I don't know. That's just kind of the way it was. Just kind of how it turned out. All right, I'm gonna add a little bit of more color in here. And as you can see, I'm trying to do this. So a little bit of that original wash that we had is still coming through. And I'm trying to blend these colors out so much. Be very, generous with my washes here, so I don't cover up all of the original wash that was down below. The other reason I want to be very generous with the amount of water that I'm using here and blending these way out is because with these brown colors in the Mgram palette, the earth colors, we want to say it that way, or the earthy colors, if you put them on in a thicker manner, a little bit thicker manner, what happens is they get a little splotchy, and you will, when you go to put your next layer on, the layer you just dropped on will really come up. So you got to put them on in a really thin layer. I don't know. I'll be honest. I don't know if other pigment manufacturers are the same way, or paint manufacturers are the same way. I have no idea. Because I use Mgram so much more, and now I've dripped here, and I'm gonna have a drip, and I don't want to drip there. Okay, cool. All right, he's actually looking pretty good. I love the variety of color that he's got on him. Definitely gonna have to come back and clean up a spot or two. But I like the different colors. I want to make sure I get the head lighter than this area through here. I think it's going to make it pretty interesting. We're headed in the right direction. And definitely when you look at this, he pops off the page. He stands off the page. Now, we can say maybe I should have mixed in a little bit more blue, like over here, back on this side. If we really wanted to, we could put a glaze over here just to give ever so slight of a blue tint. Will help him pop out even more. But he's definitely the focus of this painting. And that background, it's like being out of focus. It's out of the focal range. I took this with my Yashica camera, and it was set at the f-stop was set at 1.2 or 1.4 or something like that, and the focal distance was only 14 feet, and the mountain clearly is out of that, and so it's all blurry. Did I say that right? It's been a long time. Been 60 to 50 for Rusty for about 3 weeks now. That is perfect. That's just about what it is here where I live most of the year. Did you say I do demos once a week? I do this every Wednesday right here, 7 o'clock Pacific, whatever time that is in whatever time zone you are living in. 6 o'clock Wednesday, 7 o'clock, daylight savings time got me. 7 o'clock on Wednesday evening, we all get together and we do something. Last week, what did we do last week? Did we do a fox last week? I think we did a fox. I have the fox over here. But yes, every week. I'm too sheepish. Oh, boom, boom, boom. Don't stop. The people make jokes and you go, don't stop. Don't stop. Yes, a fox. Okay, let me see if I can find him. I know I got him. Here he is. There's what we did last week. Ta-da! Nice little fox. I love that. I still love the tail. I think the tail came out so good. I think his face came out very expressive too. Yeah, I like him. This guy's going to be just as good. Just as good. We're going to do a good job with him. And Carol, if you're going to be here, actually, even if you're not going to be here, I guess, if you'd like to make a suggestion as to what I should paint or what you might like to see, please do. I think I stopped doing it in October because I thought my November was going to be weird, and my November is a little weird. But I will typically put up a monthly challenge on Discord, and if you have any interest in taking part in that, I will pick a topic, and everybody can paint and put their painting of that topic in Discord if you want to. You don't have to. You can try it on your own. And then the last weekend of the month, and again, this month is going to be a little weird because of Thanksgiving, and next month will be a little bit weird because of Christmas. But the last Wednesday of the month, I will paint that challenge here on Wednesday, and hopefully do a good job with it, and everybody can see how I do it and compare to how they paint it, and hopefully we all come up with something that we like, or at least something that is interesting, and hopefully we'll have a little fun with it. Oops, I just painted over his eyes. So that's the way we do it here. And no pressure for anything. If you like what we do or what I do, you like the crowd here, I think the crowd is pretty fantastic, then please stop back, get involved. If you are new to watercolor painting or have painted for a while and have some specific questions, throw those out there. I'm usually pretty good at answering questions, but everybody here in the crowd is really good at answering questions. And if there's something I don't know, I can pretty much guarantee you somebody who's watching right now already knows, and we'll just work through and answer. It's pretty fun to watch everybody come together to answer questions or gain some understanding about what we do. Watercolors are... Yeah, I'm a little reluctant to say watercolors are difficult because I don't want to wish that into existence. But watercolors can be a bit frustrating, right? And if I can help alleviate some of the frustration that you or someone feels with watercolors, I'm happy to do that. I want everybody and watercolors to be good friends, because I enjoy it, and because I enjoy it, I want others to enjoy it, and so if I can help with that, I'm more than happy to help. So please, if you have any questions, ask them. Let's talk about them, and let's get you into a place where you enjoy watercolors as much as I enjoy watercolors. That's my goal. I mean, maybe not my life goal. That might be raising a couple of really fine kids, upstanding kids would be a better life goal. But I do. I really enjoy. If I didn't enjoy doing this, I wouldn't come back every Wednesday. And I do want people to enjoy watercolors. Not everybody's going to be Frank Clark or I don't know why Frank Clark just came to mind. John Singer Sargent, right? Not everybody's going to be John Singer Sargent. Not everybody's going to be Frank Russo. Is that the guy? I should bring out my little book. Got all the cool watercolor artists in it. But nobody has to be all of those people. All those people are already around. All we have to do is be a little bit better each day with whatever we do, and it will help increase all of our own enjoyment. If you enjoy it more, you're going to paint better. If you paint better, people are going to notice it. If people notice it, you're going to be happier with it, which means you're going to paint better, and it's a whole cycle of things that are going to make everybody a better watercolor artist, extend everybody's love for watercolor further out, and I don't know. Maybe I went too far. I've done watercolor for several years. Awesome, but get inspired from others and always learn something new. There you go. Frank Clark just draw a couple of carrots. I don't know why Frank Clark all of a sudden came to mind. I haven't watched Frank Clark in I don't know how many years. Many years. 20 years I haven't seen Frank Clark, and all of a sudden he comes to mind. I just remember Frank Clark looked like and sometimes acted like he'd had a couple of shots of whiskey before he ever went on air to do his program, but always entertaining. And maybe he did. He was Scottish or Irish or something, wasn't he? Something like that. Clark. I don't know what he was. Anyway. All right. So there we go. Got that leg much more in line with everything else. I think I need to give a little help to the back leg here. Right? I'm gonna extend this line. Give me a little extra paint on here. Come on. I want to take this line and move it up this way a little bit. That's going to give a little bit more definition to this back leg back here. I want to see that stand out just a little bit. I don't think it stands out like that on our reference photo, and I don't care. It's not a big deal. Fur can add a dimension that I can't on this watercolor. There you go. Look. So now all of a sudden now you can see where the musculature is on that back leg. Right now there's a little definition in there. That makes me feel a little bit better. A little bit better. But that's for sure. Hang on one second. Do I have my little book? I do have my little book. I'm going to show you my little book. I don't open this often. I'm going to let this dry for just a second. His head's got to dry. It's still wet, and this is going to dry. This is the first book I ever bought when I decided I wanted to learn watercolors, and this is actually a really good book. It's got all kinds of everything you ever need in here, but one of the things it has in here, or I thought it did, maybe I'm thinking of the wrong book, is maybe I lied to you. Oh, I thought this one had a section on just artists, but I guess the beginning of each section it talks about an artist who paints in a particular style. Well, there's Georgia O'Keeffe. Piet Mondrian. Okay, well, this was going to be great. These are composition ones. All right, maybe not. Maybe this wasn't the best thing. What is the title? The title is The Watercolor Artist's Handbook. I bought it on Amazon 25 years ago. I don't have any idea if it's still in print. And this was the first book. And like I said, I went through this a lot. Moira Clinch. There's some fantastic paintings in here, by the way. And many of them, oops, let me flip over here. Many of them, you're not going to necessarily be able to duplicate it, but it will tell you how the artist or how they think you can do it. Step-by-step instructions. It's got sections in here about washes, different techniques, layering, why color is important, and how color can help or hurt or make or ruin a painting. All kinds of stuff. Divided it into a little tiny book that is spiral bound and can sit flat when you open it, which makes it, even in my mind, even better. Anyways, I thought thought there was a section there that obviously isn't there, and so now I feel a little foolish. All right, I'm going to drop down a little bit of a brush size because I want to do some work on his head. I think we can do a lot of this. I'm going to put in a little bit more of this yellow ochre into whatever this brown is that's here. And I'm not worried about color at this point. All I'm worried about, and I think I have some basic shading here, all I'm going to worry about is putting in the bigger lowlights. Right? If I put in these lowlights, even with this color, which is not the darkest color in the world, it's going to give us even more shape to this head. I'm not using anything that's quite so dark that it's going to run into the neck over here. Just need to be able to see what's in the light and what's not in the light. And I should say, if you buy that book or you rent the book, it's probably in a lot of libraries. Give it a read and let me know if you like that book, because, like I said, I used it for a long time. Tia, you said you love those old books. Draw a couple of lines, shade, and finish it Rembrandt. Sinica says, I got the book from Amazon within the past couple of years. Wow. That was Tuscany on the cover. I think it was Tuscany on the cover. I think you're right about that. I went through a period where I wanted to get every watercolor book I could possibly get, and I probably collected 60 watercolor books, 50 some watercolor books. And now I'm trying to get rid of them because I've got too many watercolor books. I don't know what to do with them all. But I have a whole box full of them that every time we have a yard sale, I set them out at this point and hope that somebody will appreciate them the way I've appreciated them. And they're everything from Soboyev. Who was the... Oh, scheisse. Something that starts with an S. He was a Yugoslavian watercolor painter, came to America and did a lot of painting here. Most of it's pretty good. I can't remember his name. Anyways, let's not talk about the things that Michael can't remember. That's not so much fun. Let's talk about Sherry got a new organizer for her plein-air paints. That is fantastic. Sherry, what organizer? Is it a painting organizer, or is it just an organizer that you're using for painting that works out really well? We need to know. All right, I'm gonna be brave here. I'm gonna be brave. I'm gonna put a few lines here. That might be too dark. I want to get a couple of lines. Do you like how I changed the subject there? That was good, wasn't it? Let's not talk about the things Michael is having trouble with. Let's talk about something cool. That's the way it should be. It's absolutely the way it should be. That is too dark. Too dark, we can fix too dark. Done. Kind of. On that lighter area, that is a little too dark. Might be able to get away with some of that over here. I'm trying to see where this radial is out from. Well, no. I don't know. I think I'm going to drown my fears in covering his white face. The white is too white. I just need to get a little bit of color on there. That's going to dry and it's going to be fine. It's totally going to be fine. We'll put black over top of it. This is how I know it's going to be fine. We can put whatever we want to over top of it. It's very light. I just need to take some of that bright white off of there. It's too white. I want to dull that color down just a little bit. Actually, I think we've got some nice lines going on this guy. I need to paint. I need to get a little tiny brush and paint around his eyes. So this for me, we need, yeah, Tia says, we need details. This for me is the most harrowing, the toughest, the hardest part. These little details. My hands are oftentimes a bit shaky. Not always the best. I can't always see. My eyes aren't that great anymore. I can't always see what I'm painting. So for me, these little things, these little lines are always a bit tough, but we're gonna figure it out. We're gonna get through them. Now, what I do want to do while I'm waiting for the face here to dry is I want to add a few little hairs here and there, like I always do with fur. I've got my little tiny brush, and I want to put these on in a couple of little places. I'm not going to string this along everywhere on this guy. I don't think we need hair everywhere. So where there's going to be a curve, and this hair might stick out a little bit on this curve, I'm going to put some hairs there. Right, so I got this little place on his neck. Yeah, I said on a curve. Painted this a little strangely. I'm going to give him a couple of hairs here on his back. Just a few here and there. I'll give him a few off of his ear up here too. I don't know, I always think all animals have furry ears. Maybe that's a me thing. But just a couple of hairs here and there to give the impression of this animal having some fur. I don't need to convince anybody that he's got fur. Not what I want to do. Right? I don't want to, bang you over the head with, oh, there's some fur on this animal. Nope. I'm just going to put a couple of hairs here and there. Your mind is going to kind of pick that up and let you know that there are some hairs here and there, and that this animal does have fur. It's not just a blob of anything. So, all right, a couple there, even a couple here. These are a little harder to see on his back, a couple places. And now we can really start looking at where we need to add those final details. This is still just a little bit wet, so I am admittedly stalling just a little bit. I'm going to add another layer right down here to help define this back leg. I've got a little smaller brush. That allows me to get into that area a little bit more. It also poses the problem of making it harder to blend that color out. Fewer hairs, less water. Sometimes with smaller brushes, it drops it more dramatically. So we just have to be careful that we're not going to get a big tide line in there. And it looks like somehow I've gotten a tide line here, but I'm not going to worry about it. I'm willing to let some of this weirdness with the paint stay. Right? I don't want to take all of this away. Some of that, a great deal of that, I think, helps to make the painting look better. Right? If you don't have some of that, it's going to just be all smooth. It's just going to be all whatever it is. You get a few of those areas that are imperfections. You stand back 1.5 feet, 2 feet. Most people, when they look at a piece of artwork, they're 3 or 4 feet away. They're never going to notice that it looks a little odd, like they would if they came up close. They're just going to see that, oh, there's some texturing there, and that's really all you want to do. Kenya, good night. Oh, I need to get going. Okay, Kenya, thank you for stopping by. I don't know if I missed you. Thank you for stopping by. Oh wait, I missed this whole thing. It's a bench. Wait, it's a bench vest. It's a bench vest. It's a bench vest with really nice big pockets. I can fit a sketchbook, a small palette, a small bottle of water, several water brushes, and your cell phone. Wow. But it sounds neat. Natalie, you use a fanny pack. I use a backpack. A hiking backpack. I literally use a hiking backpack. I used to have a cross body bag. I don't know. What's a bench vest? I'm confused. You used to have your shoulder not too tired of it. Everybody says buy Kenya. Sure says $20 Canadian, so super cheap in US. Wow. It really works great. Can fit a lunch too. Yeah, that's even better. Carol says, what do I do with my demos? Not much. I have many of them scattered here in the studio. I have many of them hanging up in my office at work. And I have a few of them. If anybody remembers Pet Month, when we did Pet Month, Penny got hung up in the house. She was good enough that she has her own spot in a frame hung up in the house, which I think is outstanding. Josie's in there too. But I don't do... Oh, Bench Brand from Costco. Oh, interesting. So I don't do much with them. When I start to do some regular videos where I'll spend, instead of spending 1.5 hours or 2 hours here on a Wednesday doing the painting, I'll spend 4.5 or 5 hours doing those paintings. Those ones I'll put up for sale on Etsy or, typically Etsy. If you want to know when those are going up for sale, let me know and I'll let you know, or I guess anybody in here, if there's a painting you really want, let me know. We'll figure something out. More than anything, Carol, I want the paintings that I do to find a good home. I don't like when they just sit here in the studio. I've got plenty of paintings that have just sat here in the studio. I don't like it. I don't think the paintings like it. I know that sounds like a weird thing to say, but I think, so much artwork, whether you paint it or I guess I'm talking about myself or anybody, whoever paints it, right? You might not think it's the greatest thing in the world, and you might, you're going to compare yourself against John Singer Sargent, and you're going to go, oh, this is terrible, it's terrible. But if you hang it up in your office, or you put a mat on it and you put it in your office, I guarantee you people are going to walk past and go, you know what, that looks pretty cool. And that starts a conversation, and everybody will go, I wish I could do that. And then it gives you the opportunity to talk about watercolors that much more. So I've got paintings hanging in my office that are 10 or 12 years old, that at the time I was like, I don't like how this turned out. I like a bit of it, or I like parts of it. I'm not really wild about how it turned out, but there's some interest there, and it starts a good conversation, and so I put them up. And Sherry's talking about her bench brand name vest. So, with anything, I would rather it go to a good home rather than it not go anywhere. So if you see something you like, something you want anybody on here, just let me know, and we'll work something out. See, I'm going to attempt to extend this eye out and make this a little bit more dramatic, and I probably just screwed this up, and I probably need a slightly larger brush. The cryptids that we did, they're all in my office at work. Some of them are hung up, and one of my office mates looked at it and he went, I really think that's cool. He made a point to come over and say, I really think that's cool. And all of my workers have some of my artwork in their office. I want them to have a place that they want to come to work and they think is enjoyable. So if they ever see something that they really like, and I don't have an affinity for it, I'm like, please, if hang it in your office, and then you can see it every day. I can see it every day. That's fantastic. And he was like, I really like that. He says, my girlfriend would really like that too. She saw the video. Well, you know what? Take it home and enjoy it. If you guys are going to enjoy it that much, take it and enjoy it. It's more worth it to me for that artwork to find a good home and to be enjoyed rather than it is for me to do anything else with it. It doesn't make me a very good salesman. Sometimes it has made it hard for me to afford art supplies, but that philosophy has always made me feel better about my art. And so I still do it. And I have artwork all across the university that I work at. It's in 4 or 5 different academic departments. It's in 4 or 5 different administrative departments. I think I have some in the president's office, which is kind of cool. I don't know. Okay, so anyways, I'm going to stop using the word and I'm going to go back to our painting here, and I need to start looking at this to see if there's anything else we need to do to finish this thing up, because I really think we're pretty close here on this one. This is not too far off of what I thought this was going to be. And while I'm trying to figure out what to do with some of this, and I think if I put a couple of extra little lines here. Oh, Rusty's going. Have to go to bed. Have to go to bed. Looking forward to seeing the finished product. Okay, cool. Rusty, thank you for joining. Really, I look forward to seeing you next week. Thank you for joining. Thank you for taking part. That's even more important. And yeah, have a great rest of your evening. Have a great rest of your week. And I hope you're able to come back next week. It'll be great to have you back next week too. Okay. I'm trying to think. The thing I like least about this are these horns, and I'm trying to figure out what to do with these horns. And I'll be honest with you, when I looked at this Monday night, when I decided this is what we were going to paint, I went, these horns are going to be easy. These horns will be no problem. I've painted horns before. How hard can it be? And now I look at it and I'm going, oh man, what is going on with these horns? Why are they not turning out the way I want them to turn out? And I don't know what the answer is. I don't think they're bad. They're just not quite what I wanted them to be. Maybe if we add a little bit extra to them, it will make the horns happier. Happy horns. Let's find out. Carol's going to. Carol's going to go. I'm sorry I have to say goodnight. Okay, Carol. Thank you. You too. Thank you for stopping by. Please come back next week. I hope you enjoyed it. Happy Thanksgiving. If we don't see you until another show, I don't know. Is Thanksgiving before? No, Thanksgiving. Yeah, I don't know if we'll do one next week. That's true. Anyways, have a great rest of your night. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving. I hope you're going to spend it with some loved ones. And and like I said, thanks for being here. So now I'm walking through why I'm having a hard time with these horns and not exactly certain what I don't like about them, but maybe we can add a little color onto them here and there and spruce them up a little bit. I'm adding a little bit of the blue that we had mixed in that tray. Hoping that that's going to put just, and it's not a lot of blue, but hoping that that's going to put just a little bit of shadow area on there and maybe help to make that a little bit better. And maybe if we extend this up that way a little bit, maybe I should actually look at the reference photo and see what they look like over there too. Maybe that would help. I don't think they look too different than what I have. I don't think they look too different, but I don't think they look enough alike. Does any of that make sense? Bighorn is looking good. Sherry says, thank you. We had a great Thanksgiving in October. Thanksgiving in October. I want to come and have a Thanksgiving in October with you and then a Thanksgiving in November here. I love Thanksgiving. I actually, if anybody from my office is watching right now or watching a replay, they'll know this, but I am giving my office a Thanksgiving lunch on Friday this week. My team works exceptionally hard, and they do a fantastic job at work. And I want to make sure that they understand that I appreciate them. And so I'm taking stuff to work. Now, how's this? I'm taking supplies to work to make Thanksgiving lunch for them at work. Ha! 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 How about that one? Simple lunch. A little turkey, some mashed potatoes, green beans, cranberry sauce, pumpkin pie. I'm not making the pumpkin pie there, and some stuffing. That's it. But I'm normally we would have like a potluck or something like that, and or a year-end celebration. And I went, I think I'll just provide everybody a lunch. All you guys have to do is come to work and enjoy everybody's company in a little less formal environment. I'll do that for you. Not on the company's dime or anything like that. Just because I think they're all fantastic. All right, a little extra color, and I like the horns a little bit more. I'm still not super wild about them, but they're better. They get a little bit more swaggy color to them or something like that. They're better. This guy needs a pupil. I've been doing these animals with little tiny eyes. Liza would probably be mad that all the animals have such small eyes. You know, she likes to see big eyes. And eyes do make animals very expressive. Let me give them a highlight right there. All right, I think that's about what I'm going to do on this one. I think it's a good representation of that. Let's do this. Let's everybody decide. Here's the reference photo. There you go. Standard bighorn sheep. Looks fantastic. Majestic standing up there. Quite furry, quite fuzzy. I don't have the fuzz. And there's mine. There's the watercolor version of it. You can still see him standing up there. Maybe I lost a little bit of definition here. That's still going to dry on his face and lighten a little bit. If I look at it up there on the screen, it looks like it's all one color together almost. If I look at it in person, I can definitely see there are two different values here, and that face doesn't get lost. Yeah, I like him. I like him. I don't like. I think that could have done better with the background on this one, but I'm going to sign this right here. Shoo, there's my signature, and I'm going to call this one about done. Sherry says I love him. Natalie says looks great. Thank you. Sherry, you're coming for lunch. You drive down the PCH and you'll be here. That's fine. I'll set a place for you. So that's what I've got this week. Next week is Thanksgiving, isn't it? Sherry says you love him. Good job. Thank you. Next week is Thanksgiving. I'll have family in, so I might not do it. I'll put out on the community channel here on YouTube and on Discord if I'm going to do something. If I don't, we're going to do something in the first week of December. You may see, because I'm going to be off work all next week, and part of the following week, you may see on Discord me popping up there to do a video. It's all going to be on Twitch. It'll be like during the day or something like that, but it'll be all on Twitch over there. And I've got a couple of commissioned paintings over here that are partially done. I've got 3 more commissioned paintings that I need to do. And I think the next one that we're going to do in December, probably going to be December, might be a magpie, might be a vulture. I don't know. I was looking at my vulture paintings this week, and I really like them, and I think I want to paint a couple of more vultures. Anyways, I'll decide on it, or we'll decide on it. Until then, I want to say thank you to you all for joining me here on this Wednesday, helping to make the end of my Wednesday fantastic. I hope that you all have a great rest of your evening. I hope you have a great rest of your week. More than anything, if I don't see or talk to any of you, I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving, and I hope you're able to spend it with some loved ones, whether they be family, friends, or something else. But I hope you have a lovely time for that. And if you're having a hard time, give me a shout out somehow, and I'll sit down and paint with you and get you in a good mood. Sometimes I know that the holidays are tough for some people, so if I can help out in any way, I'm happy to do that. But until we meet again, I just want to say thank you, And good night. Bye-bye.